Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining today's Google webinar on best practices for the remote workplace. My name is Amy Keegan, and I'm your host for today's webinar. Before we get started, I wanted to go over a couple preliminary items. You are all on mute to avoid any background noise or on-hold music, but we highly encourage questions. So if you have any, please go ahead and enter them in to the chat box located at the lower right-hand corner of your screen. We will try to answer them as we go, but definitely take time at the end to address them all. Today's session is being recorded, so I'll be sending out a link to that along with the slide deck, so that way you have them for reference as well as the ability to share it with your teams. Now, what are we going to be covering today? First, I will introduce our presenters who will take it from there. They will also set the stage. One second. Amir, if you want to go ahead and switch the slide. They will set the stage with the current trends and events and what that means for your customers' organizations. From there, we will go into best practices in supporting our customers and their growing remote workforce with the help of both Google Chrome Enterprise and G Suite solutions. And then from there, we want to go ahead and highlight some of the great resources, or from there, we will go into the best practices in supporting our customers and their growing remote workforce with the help of both Google Chrome Enterprise and G Suite solutions. And then from there, we want to highlight some of the great resources that Google and Ingram have really set up for you, our partners, to leverage during this time, as well as propose steps and effort to strengthen your partnership with Google and Ingram Micro. So now I want to go ahead and introduce our presenters today. I'm really excited to go ahead and introduce from Google, Sandeep Gupta, our partner manager, directly aligned to Ingram Micro, and is supporting our ecosystem of partners. And then from Ingram Micro, our solution executive, Amir Johnson, and our solution specialist, Jason McManus. And both are dedicated to Google, so a key resource here at Ingram Micro for you and your organizations moving forward. Now, with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and hand the ball over to Sandeep, who will kick us off with today's presentation.
Great. Thanks, Amy. Appreciate it. And good morning, everyone. Glad you could be here. My name is Sandeep Gupta. I'm a strategic partner manager responsible for scaling the Google Cloud offerings at Ingram Micro North America. Through this partnership, our mutual goal here is to help prepare our partners like yourselves and end users and their migration into the cloud. As Amy already highlighted, we'll be talking today about a very fitting topic in the remote worker and the best practices. But before I go any further, I wanted to spend a minute to talk about current events. First off, again, thank you for taking the time to be here. The last few months, particularly the last 3 or so weeks, have been challenging. We've all been impacted, and we've made adjustments both personally and professionally. Students have been shifted to an online learning curriculum. Many of us are working from home. We're all trying to balance the disruptions that come with that. I hope you find comfort in knowing that the Google family, the Ingram family, are here for you and your business. We're navigating this uncertainty together. So feel free to get in touch with us. Please let us know how you're doing and how we can help you. So please continue to stay safe, stay healthy within your communities. That being said, I think it's timely that today's topic covers insights into our G Suite and Chrome Enterprise product lines. Given the current events, students and businesses have really relied on these products to stay connected, right? Stay connected with our coworkers, stay connected from classmates, staying productive. In fact, this last month alone, we've seen an uptick of almost 400% in usage across existing users in North America. So let's begin by looking at the remote worker trend and where we are today. So before current events, remote working has been a growing consideration for employees and employers alike for many years. In fact, I think since about 2005, working from home has grown by almost 173% amongst the non-self-employed population. And the desire to work remotely continues to increase. A recent report by Zapier found that 95% of U.S. knowledge workers want to work remotely, and that 74% would be willing to quit their current job to do so. Fast forward to today, on the next slide, recent events have really mandated that organizations take unprecedented efforts to enable their employees to work remotely. A recent Gartner survey indicated that 88% of organizations have encouraged or required employees to work from home. And that's not exactly the easiest thing to do. The challenge for an organization is fundamentally around, well, first off, how does an organization who may not have had a remote strategy address this, right? So to successfully unlock the potential of having an engaged, productive remote workforce, we must focus on 3 core areas. The first is really delivering a secure employee experience that enables productivity. First thing. Secondly, providing access to the tools that we used day to day, right? Providing that access to continue to inspire connection and collaboration. And lastly, for the IT administrators within these organizations, how do we centrally and remotely manage devices, hardware that we're all working on? So those are really the 3 key things that we need to address to have a successful a remote strategy, if you will. When enterprises build an environment that facilitates those 3 needs, any type of worker can be a remote worker. Regardless of your workforce composition, many types of employees can work remotely, right? And that's everything from the information worker to the frontline worker, right? So just to kind of level set a little bit, what do we call an information worker? And those are that are executives, their business teams, and sales and marketing, HR, you name it, and technology and engineering, right? The IT admins, the developers, that are the information workers, and then frontline workers, really, front of the house workers or the back of the house workers, right? Really taking a look at contact centers, healthcare professionals, training teams, managers, office admins. So really, regardless of the type of work that you're doing, all of these workers can be remote workers. That being said, I think we're going to start by diving into our first product, Chrome Enterprise. And with that, I will hand it over.
Hey, thanks, Sandeep. Amir Johnson here, everyone, and we're going to talk a little bit about Chrome Enterprise as we take a look at the remote worker composition here. So, Chrome Enterprise is itself a modern, secure platform that provides not only the OS, the browser, but devices as well that remote workers need to be effective and productive. So whether your organization is supporting workers that are cloud ready or a workforce that needs access to legacy apps, we can do that with Chrome Enterprise through virtualization. And so we're going to talk about these different aspects here, the speed to deployment, the manageability, delivering those apps, the security piece, and the low cost aspects. So fast deployment, you can increase your timeout or decrease your IT's time spent deploying devices while also increasing productivity by implementing this Chrome Enterprise here. Essentially, when you have zero-touch deployments where you can send out these books, employees can enroll, sign in, no imaging required, and that's just an ease that is not available a lot of places. Security may be the most important thing that we touch on here. With Chrome Enterprise's holistic approach to security, you can keep your remote workforce safe from those external threats. It has these multiple built-in features that prevents organizations from falling victim to harmful attacks, malware, phishing, and mitigate one if should it prevail. Essentially, what we're most worried about always is our data governance and knowing that if a breach were to take place, over 80% of businesses have to close their doors. By implementing sandboxing to isolate any attack, the built-in antivirus, the encryption on data, verified boot and tampering mitigation, and the safe browser provisions, you really get ahead of any of those type of threats that are out there that are so malicious and so important for us to mitigate. Remote management. Now, this is one of the key aspects to Chrome Enterprise in general and the Chrome offering. When you can manage centrally on one pane of glass 10,000 or more units with over 300 individual settings and policy controls, this is true power for an IT admin and really gives a scalable approach to managing a fleet while also mitigating the security risks. And then apps for every worker. You know, the wonderful thing I found working with Google is that the cloud-based services and apps are delivered faster through a Chrome browser. You know, everyone loves their Chrome browser. But what we can do, which is really next level, is integrate with Citrix, VMware, and RDS to ensure that the experience that your end customer receives is the experience that they would have in their office, that they have every tool available to them to use, whether they're using G Suite, Zoom, Office, or Teams. It's a perfect play in integration. Now, to go further, with a customizable ecosystem of apps available in either the Google Play Store or stacks available through our cloud marketplace, you can truly enable your end customers to have the experience that they're looking for. And then the lower total cost of ownership. This is really at its core outside of a remote work push that makes Chrome so powerful as well. When we think about the lower IT overhead, the downtime that's not spent, the security risks that are mitigated through the platform itself, and the increased hardware savings, it's been quantified that it's up to $482 saved per device annually. When we think about what that means in this time, when budgets are short, when money is tight, these savings mean a lot to organizations. So it's quite meaningful that we reduce those acquisition costs, that we reduce operational costs, and that we improve uptime and mitigate any of the challenges that come with the traditional deployment. And a solution for the entire workforce. The browser plays such a critical role in how and what we do from a day-to-day perspective. When we're deploying Chromebooks, that's not always so feasible. So if you're in a non-Chromebook environment, by leveraging Chrome Enterprise, you can then provision the browser itself, have trusted access to data, continue to safeguard your organization's applications and sensitive data to ensure that, again, your company is in good hands and that your associates have the productivity and the access to the things that they need. And we touched on this previously, but this is one of the most fantastic things. I personally got to help folks give several deployments over the past weeks. And if you're a VMware, Citrix, or Microsoft house, you're going to have partners that are on Workspace ONE, that are on Citrix or leveraging Microsoft today. With Workspace ONE, you can empower the entire workforce in a self-service unified workspace to ensure uninterrupted workflows. In Citrix, it's an individual unified experience. Conditional access and performance allows them to log into their Chromebook just like they would as if they're right in their office, and the same for remote desktop services. The performance is unmatched, and the integration is absolutely fantastic. So these are ways that we can leverage Chrome Enterprise to continue to give your organizations what they need when they're working remote. And I love to talk about where we see these. To reference use cases for deployment, we can really just call out that we're seeing tons in healthcare right now because those are the essential workers still going. Notwithstanding, the information workers that are leveraging Office and G Suite are out there. The financial services are secure access through VDI that we just spoke to. Companies are setting up remote call centers, leveraging Chrome Enterprise, G Suite, and an 8x8. Virtual healthcare practitioners being able to do video in and everything else that comes along with it. When we have security, we're able to do more. And that's really powerful when we think about how Chrome Enterprise can impact the remote workers experience. With that said, Chrome Enterprise is one facet of this equation. I'd like to introduce Jason McManus to talk more about G Suite.
Of course. Thank you, Amir. And guys, as Sandeep mentioned, I just want to note that it's absolutely amazing to see how much technology has impacted our current remote workforce. It's allowed this whole transition to be possible. And although given the scale of our current situation, transitioning to a remote workforce on a dime has still, unfortunately, caught many businesses off guard, especially small to medium-sized businesses. So this goes without saying that their IT teams and infrastructure are really being put to the test here. To ensure your customers make it through what we're all experiencing, we're going to review some of the best practices on how G Suite can be a pivotal move for any organization right now. Outside of what's going on in the next slide here, change is inevitable and it's accelerating. We're all aware that businesses need to adapt and change, but the question is, why is this important? Change will always be constant. We know this. It's across a multitude of factors and required in order for any business to survive. Market and economic conditions are changing constantly. New competitors and business models will continue to challenge any company's status quo. In fact, half of the S&P 500 will turn over in the next decade. Many companies will continue to apply existing business models to new markets. In turn, they'll be slow and sometimes unable to respond to disruptive competitors, or they'll fail to invest in these new growth areas because they can no longer pay them off. Advancements in technology have completely disrupted what's possible. Next year, 20 billion things will be connected on the internet. Cars, machinery, medical devices, home appliances, and even cities will be connected. So giving this unprecedented amount of data, we got to prepare for it. And finally, your customers need to have these expectations since things are constantly shifting. 80% of customers in both business and consumer scenarios now consider the experiences that they have with the business to be as important as the product or services they're providing. So to stay relevant, you're going to need to be able to adapt to these three spectrums here. On the next slide here, a lot of you can definitely vouch for this that use G Suite today and your great experiences you have here. But in G Suite, working together across time zones and in your own offices is super easy. And it's intuitive with our complete unified communications offering. This includes Meet, which is our enterprise video solution that enables face-to-face meetings. Chat, it's our chat platform with team rooms, threaded conversations, intelligent bots, and features like Smart Reply. Google Voice, our easy to deploy and manage smart cloud telephone solution with full G Suite integration. Meet Hardware, a reliable, scalable, out-of-the-box meeting hardware that makes joining a meeting extremely easy. And Jamboard, our collaborative digital whiteboard that lets teams work on one canvas together. So guys, when you hear any of your clients ask about remote working solutions, think Google and think about all these key values that Google offers for all remote workers. We talked about security and we stressed its importance, and remember too that G Suite is a true productivity suite and it's a cloud native solution. It's built in the cloud. It's always running the updated version. And sometimes I like to think of it as there's no G Suite versus. G Suite is a collaborative and it communicates very well with Microsoft. So if someone doesn't want to adapt or adopt, that's great. There's no drop off in communication or lack of ability to collaborate with those folks in that environment. G Suite also gives you the ability to hold video meetings and remote events with other team members, give presentations, edit team documents in real time, store, share, and access team resources from anywhere in the world. So G Suite isn't just the popular communication and productivity apps that you all know and love, like Gmail, Docs, Sheets, and Drive. It also includes everything that you need to be productive, especially highly reliable video meetings. Google offers Search Drive, which is embedded into these systems at the highest level. So if you're looking to create insights through Explorer, this will make anyone here an expert. With these secure apps that were built for the cloud from the beginning, G Suite is the future, and it's helping people reimagine the way that we work. So the positive change here on the next slide, the positive trends that we're able to measure are all tied to the ability to collaborate in real time. This allows us to work more efficiently and definitely enables innovation. So what stands out the most right now is that it showcases the psychological comfort for a lot of these remote workers and allows us all to continue to work as a team. So we've spoken about, next slide, please. We've spoken about G Suite and how this helps businesses work faster, smarter, and more collaborative. One slide back, yep. But how does this translate into tangible financial results? We recently commissioned with Forrester on this study here. It's a total economic impact analysis. And based on a number of interviews with our customers, we have learned that G Suite delivered on these 4 key ways. Revenue growth. So companies that use G Suite are able to implement new initiatives that accelerate revenue growth. The composite org in this report saw that 1.5% increase in year-over-year revenue growth. Employee efficiency, people realize that a significant amount of time that they're saving by moving to G Suite is like getting a whole extra month out of the year. Risk mitigation, so with G Suite, customers reduce the risk of data breach by over 95%. And IT cost savings, by reducing on-demand tech support and retiring local services, they significantly reduced IT costs. So overall, G Suite delivered an ROI north of 300%. This is tremendous momentum. It's important to note that the incredible amount of momentum that we've seen with our customers. That being said, there's more than 2 billion users around the world that are using apps that comprise of G Suite today. In addition, 90 million students. So when you think of that number, think about the huge number, which is a direct link to opportunity here. All these kids are going to be expected to be able to use the same applications that they use and all know and love, and especially to collaborate in the cloud. There are also 6 million businesses relying on G Suite to drive their business forward. So as we mentioned, as Amir mentioned here, we're an open platform and we work seamlessly with other business apps employees use and love every day, right? So earlier you saw an example of how we integrate with Salesforce. So that's just a simple and easy way to move data and information back and forth between 2 applications. We also integrate seamlessly with Microsoft and SAP. Lastly, here are some best practices for IT admins to help keep businesses and teams working together and working effectively, no matter where they are. So from the folks that we may be experiencing difficulties right now working remotely due to our current situation or due to the the impact that we're all experiencing right now, all the way to the everyday remote worker, having the right tools here to be able to collaborate is essential. And many of your customers need your help to familiarize themselves with the digital tools to maintain this productivity. So I'm going to turn this over to Sandeep. Sandeep, if you could please share some of the updates and resources that Google is now offering.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Jason. And thanks for the overview on the amount of momentum that we have across all of our users. I think it's goes to show not just obviously the momentum, but the way that we're communicating with each other, whether it's personally in our lives to stay close to family, but also from a business perspective. Wanted to share a couple of updates here. Next slide, please. First off, the video conferencing, right? So Google Meet is obviously a part of G Suite. There are a couple of things that we've done here for existing G Suite customers today. If you are on a basic or business SKU. The Google Meet functionality has been upgraded so that all users within that domain can experience a premium video conferencing experience. So that includes being able to have larger meetings, up to 250 participants, like this webinar today. Have the capability to do some live streaming of up to 100,000 viewers within the domain, and then obviously being able to record the meeting as well, so that you can watch it later. This is for existing domains on G Suite today. Next slide. This is the new offer that we have that we're rolling out this week. Details of this will follow from Ingram Micro starting next week. But those domains that are not on G Suite, we have introduced an offer that will allow you to experience Google Meet as a standalone function, free of charge for all businesses and public sector customers through the end of September. More details on this will follow next week from Ingram Micro. And lastly, we have a number of additional resources in addition to what we're sharing today that are coming directly from Google and Google Webinars. There's a link on the right-hand side there that talks about the remote worker G Suite series. There are a number of episodes. Please feel free to look through them. Some great resources, and not just how to work remotely, but how to manage virtual teams, how to protect your data. Data is one of the key topics that we keep getting feedback on, along with security, and how to just collaborate better, right? How to collaborate from home, how to collaborate with your workers and still be productive, and a lot of great resources. So please take a look at the Cloud Air link and get informed on different practices that you and your organization and your end customers can use to stay connected and to still be able to collaborate efficiently. With that, I'm going to hand this back to Amir on some next steps from Ingram Micro.
Awesome. Thanks, Sandeep. One thing I wanted to be sure to mention are some of the financial support mechanisms that Ingram has put into place. Of course, the things that you know and are used to already, whether it's Direct Express or Preferred Source, your credit line or leasing and commercial financing. But due to the cash crunch that we've identified, we launched 2 new programs for financing options for our North American partners. The Future Funds program allows end customers to make interest-only payments on new technology purchases for 6 months. After that, they can roll it into money owed or a traditional financing contract or option to pay in full. But this gives flexibility to partners ultimately and allows for the technology purchases to take place while the actual reseller can get all their money up front. And then the Kickstart financing program. This is actually something we're doing concurrently, and it augments the credit lines of our partners and extends credit terms where needed. So those are absolutely fantastic resources. Last but not least, Ingram Micro is waiving its fees temporarily on most of the financial programs that I mentioned already. So whereas we can control what we can at the distribution level, no fees. We can't stop fees from any third-party institutions, but we're doing everything we can to support our partners financially. As well, I want to be sure to call out our configuration services. This will allow our team to do any of the dirty details that are needed out of our Millington, Tennessee warehouse that is still functioning at a high level. Whether it's making sure that the VPNs are set, making sure that the asset tags are in, laser engraving, or that it's provisioned correctly, we can ensure that you can deliver directly to end customers while having the work done on the systems itself by our Ingram Micro teams. And then last but not least, I want to be sure to call out our solution design and services team, or the IMLink. This is where we leverage our partner network nationwide to ensure that we can provide those console management, deployment services, that we can help on infrastructure, that we can provide the end user training to ensure that they have the experience that they're looking for. And lifecycle services, of course, making sure that anything that we need to get rid of securely and efficiently is done the right way. Now, we do have some additional resources and further enablement pieces for y'all. Everyone will receive a copy of this deck, and all these links are live. But you'll be able to see all the G Suite offerings, see the remote worker pre-recorded webinar from Google, remote worker one-pagers, best practices, and pitch decks. Now, there's other value pieces here as well from Ingram Micro, right, Jason? I think the migration support promo is another great way.
I can take it, Amir. It's utilizing BitTitan for migration services to assist with the workload transfers. So this is a great solution to cut down on any manual migration. So what this is for every 2 user migration bundles, you'll be able to purchase through the cloud marketplace like any cloud solution, but you'll also be eligible to receive 1 free user migration bundle license. So for example, if you order 20 user migration licenses, you'll be eligible to receive 10 of these free. The eligibility here is you must be a first-time G Suite license purchase through the marketplace, of course, but the offer is valid until 6/30 of this year, and while supplies last. But of course, let's keep them coming. Whatever you have, throw our way, and we'll make sure that we qualify it. So the promotion here is to receive this migration bundle license. You must send a screenshot to the email that's provided right here, and we'll also send this deck just so you have these details. But once received, we'll review this for qualifications, and from there, we'd be happy to provide the coupon code and the promotion license that follow.
Awesome. Now, I want to tell everyone here that Jason and I will be available and hold office hours intermittently. So please feel free to join us. We'll make ourselves available to answer any questions you have in real time. To go further, our cloud solutions team are running and rearing. We have our folks and operationally going, and certainly any questions you have from either the Chrome team, G Suite, or the like, we'd be just absolutely happy to support you. And then we want to just make sure to prioritize well-being. These are some great resources on how to take care of yourself. It's a pretty wild time out here, so we want to be more human than anything else. Make sure you know that we care about all of our partners, and that ultimately here are some great resources with strategies about staying connected, staying healthy, staying sane. I know I could always use a little more sanity. And then, of course, this is how you become a Google partner if you're not already. It's a simple process. You identify yourself to us via the link that you'll find here to request authorization. You'll create a cloud identity. That's how Google recognizes you. You'll then connect that cloud identity to our Ingram Micro Cloud Marketplace to begin transacting. We then have you sign up for Google's Partner Advantage. That's their central portal full of the trainings that are required, as well as many resources, deal reg, and the like. And then you go ahead, transact on Cloud Marketplace, call our Chrome team, and Jason and I, and we'll be sure to help you. I know we have some questions in the queue here, so I just want to be mindful of your time as we've gone over just by a couple minutes. If there are any questions here, we can address them quickly.
Just one question I'll call out is just regarding the slides and the recording of today's session. So just a reminder that yes, these slides and the recording will be sent out and made available for you to download. So just anticipate that in the next 24 hours or so. So just definitely want to make sure you have access to this contents information. I have been dropping in a few of the links that we've made reference to, but just keep in mind that all of these links are embedded within this deck that we'll make available to you as well.
Awesome. Well, Paul Farmer has a question about partnering with Ingram. I'll give you a call out afterwards, but there's tremendous value in leveraging the power of Ingram Micro, and we can go in that in great detail. Does Meet require a separate download versus Zoom? Yes, because it is not Zoom. It'll be a separate standalone video offering, and that's available to you if you just go ahead, hit those links that we'll provide to you shortly. Google Reseller Tool via Ingram Micro. That will be available to you via when you create your cloud identity. Vinny Grio. it was actually just launched as a standalone admin this week. So more details will follow, as it's still as I'm still novice to this as well. That's a fun question, Michael Nelson. Multi-monitor support is going to come from the video card in your system. I know my Chromebook runs multi-monitors, but that's less the VDI and more the video card on your hardware. You transfer existing GC clients to Ingram anytime. It doesn't have to be when the contract expires. For annual, Tina, you can, if it's an annual agreement, you can do it within 30 days of their renewal. If it's a monthly flexible, you can bring them over anytime. We'll stick around. Yeah, I was going to say, we'll stick around for just a couple more minutes. If there's any other questions that come through, we'll just answer them. But I just want to thank everyone again for their time. And please do reach out with any follow-up questions.
I was going to say, Amir, do you want to go ahead and actually pull up the slide with
yeah.
your contact information, just so that way anyone else that's on here can go ahead and, if they haven't done so already, if they have any questions that they would rather just reach out directly, they have that information. And there was a quick question via Scott about, and yes, I'll be sending out the information via the email that was used during registration.
And then, Mr. Rye, the authorization process is, up to you. It takes about an hour to get your domain validated when you create your Google Cloud ID. That's about the longest part of the process. You can get the basic pieces done within a day. Then you have 30 days to take care of your individual training.
Also, just to conclude and point out here too, for anyone that didn't raise a question today, if you end up wrapping things up with us and happen to have one, be sure to check out our office hours. We'd love to have you and answer those questions then.
Yeah, I want to just kind of piggyback on that and just emphasize, the intent of the office hours is to be less formal. It's less about, decks and slides and all that. The team here will just definitely make sure that they know anything that's new, updated. Obviously, there's a lot of fluidity going on right now, so we want to make sure you have all the information as it's happening. But we definitely want to encourage you to, come to these office hours, be candid, ask specific questions, any, customer situation you're running into. They are available anytime, obviously throughout the week, but we wanted to just make sure you knew that these times were dedicated to you. So just, again, I'll go ahead and drop in the reg link for that. And these times are made available. So if you come on the 30th, it doesn't mean you can't come on the 28th. Things happen, if you have other questions, you can come every one of these sessions. So just want to make sure you know that you have a streamlined communication, a line of communication to this team. Check in the chat box. If there's no additional questions, we can go ahead and wrap up the audio portion of today's webinar, give a few minutes back. But what I'll do is I'm going to go ahead and just keep the session open just in case anyone wants to shoot any last minute questions in, and I'll shoot them over to you, team, and we can follow up directly. But with that being said, I want to take a second and just really thank everybody for joining today, both our speakers, so Sandeep, Amir, Jason. I really appreciate your time. Then, of course, our partners for taking the time and really just trying to understand kind of how Ingram plus Google is really trying to set up resources and a platform for our partners to be able to really support their customers. So thank you for the time. Feel free to reach out anytime. Thanks, everybody. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you, everyone.